Hi, today I'm glad you're joining us in the kitchen. I'm going to do one of my favorite recipes from our latest cookbook, Eat More Plants Love. It's right on the cover. It's the shiitake stack. And a lot of people might be a little intimidated if they read the recipe in the book for this, because it is a little time consuming, but it is so worth the effort to do this recipe. The part we're going to be making in this video is the corn tortilla. And it's spicy. It has a nice flavor. It's not a hot spicy. It's just a very flavorful thing. You can use it not just for the corn tortilla in the shiitake stack, but you can also use it, cut it in strips and bits, put it in salads, put them in soups. Very versatile thing to use and adds a lot of flavor to your recipes. So very simple to make. All you need is a blender and a couple cookie sheets and an oven. So we're going to do that today. Thanks for joining us. So all we need are a few ingredients for this. First, the main ingredient, of course, is the corn. We use frozen corn. This happens to be a 12-ounce bag. We needed 3 cups of frozen corn, thawed, or you could use fresh corn or canned corn. You just have to drain the canned corn. And we need 1.5 cups of red or yellow pepper, bell pepper. We like the red because it adds contrast to the finished product. 3/4 of a cup of ground flaxseed, that's our binder in this. 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. If you try it and you don't like the flavor of the lemon, you can always cut back to 2. It won't change the recipe that much. Some cumin, chili powder, smoked paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, and salt. So we're going to put this together. So just get your blender and you put everything in. Put my corn in. And the salt. Now we're just going to take this and blend it up. So what you're looking for is something about the consistency of hummus or a thick dip. So this is what mine looks like. It's a beautiful orange, red color, and that's the consistency you're looking for. Now what we need are 2 sheet pans covered with either parchment paper or silicone silpat sheets to bake this on. So we're going to divide it between the 2 sheets. What works out really well to spread this out on the sheets is what's called an offset spatula or a bent angle spatula. This will help smooth it because we have to get this real thin. We only want it about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch thick, somewhere right around there. So we're spreading this off very thin, and then we're going to bake it very slowly in the oven at 170, 175 degrees for a long period of time. We sort of want it's sort of like a fruit leather, in this case a vegetable leather. That's what we're going for, something that's stiff enough to hold our fillings and dry enough that you could handle in your hand if you had to. The bent angle on this really helps you to spread it out, and there's not really any other trick around this. Now, that's why the bent angle spatula works well. And you could use the bent angle in a lot of other uses once you have it, from decorating cakes to spreading out other things in pans. So you want it thin, yet you don't want any breaks in it. So you have to sort of play with it a little bit until you get it spread out. I try to make it into sort of a rectangle. Terrible today. You don't want to see any things poking through. You want it to be as uniform as you can get. I think I'm going to add a little bit right there. And you want to get it as uniform as possible. Take your time. One done. So I've set my oven to 175, and I'm going to put these in, and we're going to let it bake for 90 minutes. We'll come back and check in 90 minutes. Then we're going to be flipping it over, and I'll show you that next. All right, 90 minutes, give or take a few minutes. What we're looking for in this is it should be dry to the touch on top of the tortilla mix. And it should look pretty dry all over. Sometimes in the middle it'll be a little thicker. And now what we have to do is flip it over so we can cook the back side of it. And that may sound a little tricky. I happen to have 3 cookie sheets, so I sort of alternate with that third one. So I'm going to show you how I do that right now. So here's the cooked one. You can put your hand on it. It's totally dry up top. And now I have to sort of peel this off. So I take it and I put it on top of another one. Set this one aside. And here I use my spatula. Again, you could use a butter knife, you could use anything. And what you sort of want to do is start peeling it off the sheet. So I just peel it back, and if it doesn't peel off easily, you may have to put it back in the oven for a few minutes. Now, what I use the knife for is to help me peel it, because this back side is going to be a little damp. And I gently peel it all off. And once I get it started, it goes pretty easy. Now, like I said, in the center, it might be a little thicker. Or maybe I forgot the edge here, you know, so. And then we're going to sit this back in the oven until it's cooked on this side. Now, it doesn't take as long for this. So we're going to put this back in the oven to get this looking like the other side. It took a bit longer, and I reread my directions, and it said 20 to 30 minutes. And it's really going to depend on your oven. This is the first time we've moved recently, and this is the first time that we've used this oven for this recipe. And in our old house, we had a gas oven. Here we have an electric oven, and they do cook different, and sometimes it may cook more quickly. So it depends on your oven. It may take an extra 15, 20 minutes. What we're looking for is thoroughly dry on both sides, sort of like leather. You may have to flip it if it's still damp on one side or the other. And pretty uniform in texture all the way across. Now the edges might get a little dry, but the main part of it should all be very similar in texture. And like I say, go for sort of like a fruit leather type effect. Okay, I just checked mine. One of them definitely needs more, and that's probably one that was a little thicker. The other one is pretty good to go right now, and I'll show you what that looks like. So here's our one that I had done. You know, it looks like the color is not uniform. Yes, some places are drier than the others. The outer edge is much drier. It's thinner there where I spread it out than the middle, but it's the middle that we're going to use. And typically what we do, for our shiitake stack is the center part is where we cut out our squares for the shiitake stack, and the edges, which become scraps, we use in our salads. It looks real nice cut into strips and put on top of your salad. But when we're looking at the texture, it should still be flexible, and it shouldn't be damp anywhere. And that's how you make spicy corn tortillas. Now in our next video, we're going to actually make the shiitake stack, and I'll show you what I do with this and how to make the filling that goes in. So thank you for joining us. And remember, eat more plants and love without limits.